Hey everybody, Bruce here, and I'm going to be going through the solution for skill building exercise number 45, which has you build a player class. Okay, so I'm going to go right to the code. This is the same code that you have available to you in Canvas, and I highly suggest that you get typing away on this kind of stuff and don't simply download the code. So let's talk about this player class. It's supposed to support from 1 to 1,000,000 players. Okay, 1 to 1,000,000 players here. And let me just see if I actually, I don't do anything with the million stuff. Oh, yeah, I do, but we'll get to that. The next thing I want you to do is have the ability to create new players. Okay, when a new player is created, a name and a player color needs to be assigned. When a new player is created, we need to set their status to alive. A new player will also be assigned a blank list of tools when they are created. This list will hold future tools, one throughout the game. And let's see, methods for this class that we're going to create, for this player class, will need to be created. Get the user's list of tools, get the user's status, whether they're alive, dead, breathing, or injured, have the ability to add or remove a tool. So here I created a class named player, and here I created the constructor method, which is known as the underscore init. And I stated in the requirements that we needed to have a player name and a player color. Remember that self refers to the particular object being referenced, and when you instantiate the new object in your code, you don't need to place a parameter for self. It's implied. So here I'm taking the player name and setting this object itself property to the name passed in. Same thing with the player color. It said that we need to set new players that we construct equal to alive. That's the player status. And then I created an empty list, which is going to hold the player's tools. Okay, so take a look at that. The next thing I needed to do was to create a method to get the tools that a player has. And that's where I simply said, hey self, take your player tools and return it to whatever it called it. And we'll get to that shortly. Add tool. This had you pass in the name of a tool and had you take the player tools list, and I assigned it here to a variable, and then I said, hey, tools, append on the tool that the programmer wanted to have added. The remove tool had you take the tool, the remove tool method had you take a tool that is passed into the method and have you remove it from the list. So here again, I got the tools as a list, and then using list.remove, tools.remove, and the name of the item I want to remove, I can remove that item from the list. And I believe, did I have you reference? No. But if you want to go look up on python.org some of the things you could do with lists, you'll find you have the ability to remove something from a list by its value. Get status, that's going to be the method we're going to call to get the player status, whether it's alive, dead, injured, or breathing. And set status is going to allow us to pass in a status to this method, and then have the status set itself, have the object set itself's player status to that status you pass in. So that's our class definition, right? We can make one player out of this or 1,000,000 players. Okay. In fact, I think one of the one of the skill building exercises has you create a bot army, an army of bots similar to players. Okay. So let's go down to the main function here, and where we are going to create, instantiate a new player named Bruce Elgort, and set their color to blue. And we're going to assign the variable Bruce to be that object. So now, if I call Bruce.playerName, right, I can get the player's name, right, which happens to be Bruce Elgord. Then I can get a list of the tools that Bruce has. So if I take the object we created, Bruce, and I call the getTools method, doesn't take any parameters, any arguments here, and I assign that to a variable, this is going to be a list of the tools that Bruce has. And if you remember correctly, Bruce has no tools when he started off. In fact, let me just run this to show you that. So run. So you can see here, current list of tools for Bruce is an empty list. So let's carry on. And there's my name, by the way. That came from right here, player name. Okay. So we're going to add tool now. We're going to give Bruce, right, we're going to call the add tool method, and we're going to pass in hammer as an argument. And Bruce should then have a hammer because that object is going to call right here, see, right there. And now Bruce has a hammer, right? Okay, let's carry on down here. So let's now give Bruce a bow and arrow. So he'll have two tools. He'll have a bow and arrow, right, and a hammer. And you can see that right here, right? Because I call the add tool method again, and I gave Bruce a bow and arrow. Now the next method is the remove tool. I said, hey, somewhere in the game, Bruce lost his hammer, and now we can call the object with its remove tool method to remove the hammer, and that goes up in the object itself and runs this bit of code. Got it? And down here, we're going to set the status to dead or injured or whatever you want, and then we're going to display that status again, calling the getStatus method. So let's see. Ready? Run. And you can see that it says that the status is dead. Now, if you wanted to create another player, right, check it out. I can say that Gail equals player. Gail's a player, and her name is Gail Ujifusa. And let's give her a status of injured. Okay, she's injured. And then if I say take Gail, and let's see, add tool, and let's give her money. Money is a tool. And then I'll say here, I'm just going to copy this. What should we do? Let's just copy this line right here to display her status. Okay. So let's display Gail's status here. We need to change the object's name here to Gail. Gail is the object. And we'll do here Gail. So we're doing both the name, right, and the status in one. But let's say after that we want to print out Gail dot, what do we want to do? How do we get the list of tools? Add tools, return get tools, remove tool, add tool, get tools. So we'll call the get tools method. So here we'll say Gail.getTools. It's a method, so we need to include the parentheses. So let's run the code, and the last 2 or 3 things. Let's see. So the current status of Gail is alive, and here's the list of tools, right? Money. Got that? And if I wanted to just do one more, right, I can create another. I'll create Brandon equals a new player, and his name is Brandon V. Brando V. And his, oh, by the way, that was supposed to be colored, not the status here. So we'll make Brandon purple. There you go. And we'll set Brandon dot set status equal to breathing. And then we'll print out Brandon dot get status, and that should show him breathing. Let's just do that first. Let's see, ready? See, it says he's breathing. And then if we say print out Brandon dot player name, the property, it should print out Brandon V, right? Check it out. There it is. All right, so that's skill building exercise number 45. If you have any questions, you know where to find me.